Hey everybody, it's my birthday today and I have something very special to share. I have my kids here visiting and I took advantage of the opportunity and I asked them if I could interview them about what it was like to grow up with a coach approach to parenting. And they agreed, so I'm very grateful for that. And so what I'm going to share with you is a video from like 12 or 13 years ago when we did a dynamic around family values. We did a visualization together, and then they cut out magazine images that captured the essence of what was important to our family. The same kind of exercise I was doing with organizations. And now you're going to see 12, 13 years later, the impact of all of that in their lives, plus some other things. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you're all inspired to practice the coach approach to parenting.
Esto para mí significa amor, aventura, trabajo en equipo, aprendizaje, diversión, un poco de familia loca como nosotros, paz. Y generosidad y paz, generosidad, risa, amor entre madre y bebé, amor entre hija y madre. Y este de aquí es para mí creatividad y arte.
Muy bien, gracias, Sofía.
Vale, esto para mí, que es una cuerda con un pañal y una braga enganchada, representa que tú tienes que aprovechar el momento cuando eres un niño pequeño de vivirlo, porque solo lo vives una vez, de aprovecharlo. Una vez me preguntó mi madre que para mí, que yo que creía que era lo que representaba nuestra familia. Y yo pensé y le dije que yo creía que era una naranja, porque la naranja a veces está amarga y a veces no está dulce, y es como nuestra familia. Algunas veces está amarga, otras veces está dulce, pero todos los pedacitos siempre están juntos, como nosotros.
Ay, estoy tan orgullosa de vosotros.
One thing you did a lot with us was to have us get into each other's shoes when there was a conflict. So I think you were always very good with the conflict resolution. I think there were a lot of different values that we had as a family, but when it came to issues, through fights and stuff like that, you were always very good at having us be empathetic with one another. And I think that's one thing that I've carried a lot through my life with me. One of the reasons why I even want to be an actor is because I think from a young age I was able to really step into my siblings' shoes and understand how they felt in a conflict, even if sometimes it didn't really work out because we were too upset or too, rattled up. I don't know. Since we were young, I think we practiced it so much that nowadays it's very easy for me to practice empathy with someone down the street and at the workplace, wherever.
I think for me, it's one of the things that you also really helped us with was empowering us to make our own decisions and fix our own problems, which you've talked about with, I don't know if the people seeing this will have seen that video, but that I've never felt incapable of doing anything. And maybe that sounds exaggerated, but there never really comes a problem in my life, and probably Roberto and Nico can agree with that seems too big, you know? Even when it's big, I feel like I can always kind of handle it. And I never feel like I have to ask anyone for help. Even though sometimes it's good to ask for help, I feel like we're really capable of fixing our problems on our own because you always empowered us to do that, you know? And I think that's really important, to feel empowered to be able to make your own decisions and fix, you know, things that might come along your way, which obviously are going to happen. So
I think also, like, following up on what Sophia said, problems were always like brought to the surface, and the moment they are brought to the surface, you realize like the resolution is much easier than it might have seemed from the start. And like stepping into someone's shoes, or communicating, just bringing attention to that problem already tones it down, and starting a conversation about it already resolves the problem in a way. And taking that first step, I've realized, is really important, and then the rest is much easier once you set that space of like, we're gonna have this conversation, we're gonna work this out. And I think a lot of times there's a fear or a pride in taking that step, but once it's taken, it's like, wow, everything is much easier from then.
Well, I think off of what Nico just said, I think it's always been, I wouldn't say easy, but it hasn't been as difficult as one might think to kind of look into ourselves and find the issue, or be able to have a conversation about our feelings with someone. That's a gift, because sometimes it's very hard to understand yourself and to know why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and just find the reason why you're in that place. And I think putting into practice from a young age to be able to ask ourselves questions to kind of get to that place, even if it was to get us closer to it. I think that's something that we've just been doing since a young age, and we're so lucky to have that, because I haven't found myself having many issues with expressing myself or expressing my emotions or being vulnerable. And I think that's a gift, because I don't think you're able to truly find who you are unless you're able to open up yourself.
I was just looking at this one, it's teamwork. I was just thinking about how I have always felt like we're a team, and now that Roberto's off studying, and so is Nico, and I'll be leaving soon, hopefully. Um, it's just, I think coaching played a big part in that, that we are a team, that no matter where we are, it's always there, and there's always a feeling of, if anything happens, if anyone needs anyone, we come back together, and we work together to fix anything that comes up, and we always talk about any problem that arises, and we never let anything sit there, like, if something comes up, it gets fixed and put away, and then, we move on. We don't let problems simmer or, build up, and I think it's really special to know that, there's 3 people that I know I can count on 100% for the rest of this lifetime, That's pretty cool. And I think a really big sign that you did a good job, especially using coaching, is that I know that I want to raise my kids in a very similar way, and that I want to have my family really close in the future. I keep talking about how when I have kids, I want to live door to door with Roberto and Nico so that we can have barbecues every Sunday. And that's because you've taught us how to, really love and take care of each other, and I feel like I wouldn't be able to be without that, I need that, and I have that, which is really, really special.
I'm not sure what else to add.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's anything that involves, or I guess overlaps all this, is just the presence of love and the importance of love. And every example of this, there's just love behind it, and acceptance, and whether it's empowering or teamwork or, you know, having a conversation, it's always in a loving manner and it's always accepting, and I've always felt, you know, free to love and be vulnerable, and just from that love comes a lot of power, and I just feel lucky to be aware of that from a young age.
If there's one thing that I would, if I could choose one thing that I would for sure 100% want to raise my kids with, that you gave to us, would be the ability to understand the other one and get into their shoes and just realize that there are reasons for those feelings, and that we've been in that place before ourselves, and that, like Nico said, at the end, if we get rid of everything, we just have love. We have this.
I never felt like you were trying to push anything on us, you know? I always felt like we were really free to be our individual people and really experience and kind of let our soul flourish, you know, to say it in some way. I think it's important to understand that even though your kids are your kids, they're individual people, and they all have, I think we all come into the world with so much creativity and love and already so many things that a lot of times I think parents in school and so many things extract from us. And you didn't do that. You let us have that, and you let us become our own people and empowered us to really come into our own person, you know, in full potential, you know. I think you really gave us space to explore that potential. I think that's really important.
I don't think that I can choose one thing that I would pass down to my children, because I think just the way that I've learned to view life, you know, will just automatically pass down, because it's just natural and it feels so right, and, you know, I wouldn't imagine it another way. I hope that I can do nearly as good as a job.
And here it is. Here's what they created 12, 13 years ago.
Family hug.